Welcome back to a magnificent day here, trackside for round 5 of the Shannons Nationals. We've got the Australian Prototype Series rolling around to the grid as we speak. There goes Mark Lauke. Let's hope he can keep it all together and get it through turn 1 this morning for... This is race 3, non-championship points race, and this will be an absolute ripper as we go down to the lane with Emma Francesco.
Paul Trengove not out on track. What's the issue?
I've just got rear tyre issues from that last race. It was pretty obvious. I really had issues in the back of the car, so they've really grained over on this surface. We just don't know the problem, so we may be taking a penalty for the next race.
Tough luck. Thanks, mate.
Thanks.
So, the Father's Day Abandoned Wives Trophy race is what this one is all about. Over 12 laps. What a shame. I'd rather be not looking into the eyes of Paul Trengove out of the helmet. I'd love to be looking in the eyes of a race driver out there as we have a race start. And have a look at that. JP Drake driving away. A beautiful start there from him. Mark Lauke keeps it all wrapped up this time. Doesn't go dirt bound. He's got his eyes on the Indota Spa $150 voucher to hand over to his wife in this Abandoned Wives Trophy race on Father's Day. Great little concept that they've put together. 12 laps, not a championship point scoring race, Cam, so we may not see the aggression that we saw in the race earlier on today, but certainly everyone wants to get that Indota Spa gift voucher, don't they?
Well, the phones have been running hot from wives saying you don't come back without that Indota Spa voucher. And JP Drake, you can see Phil Hughes has obviously got the bit between the teeth as well. Looks to the outside of JP Drake. He's been outstanding today, Phil Hughes. I wonder who's been in his ear on the radio.
Interestingly enough, these 3 guys, 1, 2 and 3 on the road at the moment, their wives are all absolute huge fans of their husbands, and if they're not at the track with them this weekend, they'll be watching on the live stream. So g'day to all of the wives of these dads out there racing at the moment, and joining right on the back of them now there is Glenn Stahlbaum as well in the West, the first of the Wests here. Well, Hughes, does he have a problem? Like a number of other Radical drivers this weekend, has he got a gearbox problem? We saw Carmelo Bonaventura with a gearbox issue yesterday. He's taking no further part. Zig Vermeister had such an issue with the gearbox. He's gone to a whole different car, currently running down there in 8th, and the last guy in this race is Phil Hughes driving the Radical very nicely indeed, and you've got to hand it to him. He certainly was the hard charger in race 2 earlier on today. Good to see Mark Lauke hang it in there. He's had a torrid time this year. Really different driving style he's had to apply to the Tornado over his WR1 that he drove to a couple of titles, and doing a tremendous job as we catch up with Greg Rust.
It's about an hour before we get going on SBS with Car Sales TCR Australia. They are just wheeling in car 34 for James Moffat, who you will have seen go out to do a systems check, a sighting lap there. What was that all about and how is it?
Obviously just from our dramas yesterday, Thruster. We got permission, which was kind enough from the officials to let us just go out and basically do an install lap on the car and make sure it's all running right. So yeah, fingers crossed, it was fine then, and we'll be good for the 2 races this afternoon.
Okay, right, we'll leave you to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.
Good pick up there, Greg Russ. Thank you very much. Down in the lane, it'll be good to see the Renaults out on track. What a horrible day it was for Gary Rogers Motorsport. 3 entries.
Mark Lauke goes through on Phil Hughes there. Sorry, Cam. Change the position there. Change of luck and fortune for Mark Lauke as well. Of course, those Renault Megane's been doing plenty of laps around this weekend. You've been driving one yourself, Cam?
Zig Vermeister into the garage, by the way, Darren, as well in the meantime. They are very much like their race car counterparts, the road cars for TCR Australia. But right now, this battle of Lauke and Drake is heating up. Lauke, fastest man of all through the 2nd and 3rd sectors. And he'll start to put JP Drake under pressure with 9 and a bit laps to run. Watch Phil Hughes also doing a wonderful job. Now, we heard from Emma Francesco with Paul Trengove, the winner of race 1. The tyre dramas he was talking about, it looks like he has a fair bit of graining on that tyre, and he said that he might take a penalty later. Now, Darren, that is because of the set of tyres you've got to run throughout the course of the race weekend, and unfortunate for Paul, when his tyre looked as bad as what I saw it looking, then he was unable to take any further part. But hopefully we'll see Paul Trengove, who's not a championship or series contender, but still one of the quickest drivers out there, so we'll hopefully see him out later today.
I'll tell you what, once the 2020 calendar gets announced, then put Paul Trengove right in that top 3 for the championship for next year. Have a look at this. Mark Lauke's gone through on Phil Hughes. You get the feeling that John Paul Drake just doesn't have the car under him in that twisty bit, the famous back section of the Winton Motor Raceway. Once he gets it through these 90-degree corners, the Marina Mirage Wolf goes very, very nicely indeed. It looks like Mark Lauke has finally tuned the car up to come under him and feel like he has the car under his control, because now he is pressurising John Paul Drake probably for the first time all this season, being that JP's been in the normally aspirated GBO 8 West. He's now jumped into Jason Macris's car. We've said it every time this weekend. G'day, Jace. Was the defending champion. Not going to play any further part, I believe, in the 2019 championship, but such a generous offer to his old mate John Paul Drake out of Adelaide to get on board here. Have a look at this now. Lauke's starting to come under fire from Phil Hughes. The Radical is massive around the twisty parts here at Winton. Regains the spot, relegates the 55 back to 3rd spot this time round, and Phil Hughes has got the bit between the teeth again. Driving beautifully here. A couple of very experienced racers and very experienced guys in life there, doing a tremendous job.
I believe the tyre story may also extend to Gonzalez and Barham, who didn't take the start of this race. So 3 of our contenders from last race not starting this. Gonzalez, Barham and Trengove. Zig Furmeister has gone into the pits and does not look like he's coming back out again. May well have gone and parked back in the paddock. So 7 runners. The 24 there of Esselmont runs inside the top 5 now as well. And just behind Esselmont is Grant in the 51.
The race intel car of Susan Esselmont. Good job there as we go back to P2 and P3 in this race. Phil Hughes has gone through, and Lauke down the inside into turn 3. Can't make it move. There's a bit of a last-minute idea there for Mark Lauke. He probably would have been better off to stay behind Phil and challenge him coming down the back straight the next time. This is the happy hunting ground for the Radical where we are now. Entering, although we saw Hughes go off there, just 2 wheels off in the last race, the Radical is really suited for this change of direction around here, and it's exactly the same as what we saw with Paul Trengove in races 1 and 2. The point-scoring races here this weekend, but the West was just superior in its ability to change direction around here, and it's a real toss-up when you're setting your car up for Winton. Do you want it to be able to charge down the couple of long straights here, or a big slide there? But John Grant loses momentum, chasing Susan Esselmont, partners in life, but definitely protagonists in this race. Having a big go at it here, as are these two. These two aren't partners in life, partners in the success of the category, but certainly out there racing. They'll be enjoying it. These guys go racing for all the right reasons. They love coming to the track. Mark Lauke said to me at Phillip Island, swap for position there. Gets it done. Mark Lauke said even the worst day at the office, even the worst day at the racetrack is better than a great day at the office. So he just loves coming to the track. Even when he's having spins and he's having mechanical problems, he's got the biggest grin in the paddock area. G'day to Rolf Mammers, another local Victorian racer who loves a smile at the racetrack.
Drake now 6.2 seconds up the road, doing it comfortably at the moment. You can just about start booking that appointment to Endota Spa. Mrs. Drake. Or maybe he'll use it himself. You're a bit of a fiend for a day spa, aren't you, Darren?
Well, JP's got the sculptured beard. I'm not sure that there's any hipsters in Adelaide, but he'd probably be pretty close to one of the locals there. A very successful supermarket chain operator, great bloke, and clearly a great race driver, doing well here. And I guess it's a shame that this isn't actually a point score race, because he needs the points in the championship. But what it's doing is setting him up for the final race for this round coming up this afternoon at 10 minutes past 3. They'll be straight on track. Oh, that's Jonathan Stokel in the number 53. And there's parts of the rear wing end plate. He's hit the wall. He's hit the wall. The rear end plate's broken off there. That's a shame. Lap 7 of 12, just past half race distance, and these two are going to go at it. You have to suggest for the next 6, 5 and 3/4 laps. Wow, look at that. Phil Hughes right up into the back of Mark Lauke now. echoes of radio calls from the early 2000s of 1P Hughes to those Ferrari races in the Australian GT Championship. Get in there, get in there. That's exactly what Phil's doing now.
It's very hard to pass around this section of track though. Need to set them up a couple of corners before and seize the opportunity. Look at that, look how close he is.
Oh, he
There's
gives
a
him
nudge.
On the rear diffuser there, Phil Hughes. Mark Laukey's gone, righto, let's get on with it. All come home, and it's rattled him too. He's gone deep into turn 10, and Phil Hughes gets it. Bit of the C. Lowndes Morse code on the back door there.
Let's have a look if Laukey returns serve. There was definitely a little tap, 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 I'm coming through.
Both of them have got a very, very strong front splitter as well, so they can be used for that sort of action. Have a look at this. Just ever so slight, the Radical getting its power down. Phil doing very nicely indeed, and Laukey using the power there, and here we go. Laukey's challenging again.
Oh, commitment. Phil
Nice.
Hughes. He's outstanding today. Look at him. He's stayed committed right throughout. Laukey also. This is going to be closer here. Phil Hughes holds on. Great driving from both of them.
Challenging his inner Alan Simonson at the moment. Bought this car with Alan Simonson. They were going to do a bit of buddy up racing. Unfortunately, that never occurred, but what has happened is that Phil has done that legacy and that memory very, very proud over a number of seasons now. Mark Laukey just losing a little bit of run with Phil here. That's the strength of the West up until about this point. This is where the Radical that Phil Hughes is driving becomes strong. Changes the direction magnificently, that Radical. Here's the challenge now. The power down out of the West. Drives straight up the inside to turn 10. Nicely in there. Puts himself in. And this puts Phil Hughes back on the inside running for turn 11. But the West, have a look at it drive away. Turbocharged. Boost comes on and gets away nicely. You know what, Cam? I reckon Phil Hughes lost that spot because he's giggling inside his helmet right now. He's having that much fun.
They will be really enjoying this battle. It's been good, clean racing, giving each other just enough room, but no more.
A nudge when required. Just to, come on, Mark, let's get on with this.
Nothing wrong with a nudge.
Breathe, Mark. And, up they go again. Line astern. Phil Hughes almost sits directly in the silhouette of Laukey. Around they go. Two magnificently presented cars, one by the Jam Motorsport team, that Laukey bright yellow and black West, and of course the Radical in its reminiscent BASF livery from the Procar M1 days. And the Radical presented by Hughes Supercar Services.
Great move by Phil Hughes again. Gets through on Laukey. He needs to gap him enough to get down to turn 1 in front. If he can get down to turn 1 in front, he has enough speed through that middle sector to hold on to this lead. But Laukey, very smart driving, or tuck in behind. You know, you got the horsepower advantage.
Here's something interesting, just interrogating the timing screens. John Paul Drake was 10 seconds in front. He's now dropped to 7.5. Has he just eased off and gone, right, I need to conserve these tyres? We know there's something bubbling away in the background as Hughes and Laukey swapping around again.
Whoa.
Oh, Hughes just about went round. Laukey went out in sympathy. And is he going to give up the bottle of French champagne for finishing third? Rummaging around in that gearbox trying to find a gear. And here's our race leader, John Paul Drake, who has definitely eased out of it. Just letting the rest of this race tick on by. A 1:18.88 to the Marina Mirage racer, John Paul Drake, driving for Jason Macris for the rest of this season. And Mark Laukey gets it back underway again, dropping at least 3 spots. John Grant's gone through. Jonathan Stokel's not taking any further part. So Laukey will be 6th and last on the road in this trophy race for the Father's Day Abandoned Wives Trophy race. What a great concept. There's actually no championship points on award here. You wouldn't believe it, between the battle between Hughes and Laukey that's raged for the last 7 laps. Very, very mature drive here for John Paul Drake, and a really good opportunity for him to get another 12 laps and experience this Wolf car. It's almost like a live test session for him. She's doing very, very well. Backed off the last lap around. On lap 7, went the fastest lap of the race. A new record for the category at a 1:18.8812. Charges across the line. Rapid lap times. When you look at this is a 1600cc turbocharged. Phil Hughes is a 1500cc Hayabusa-based race engine. So out of a motorcycle, driven through a motorsport diff with a Quaife type torsion differential. The Wests that we've got out there are a chain-driven 1000cc. So they're not big power plants, but they're certainly ticking off big numbers as far as lap times go. John Paul Drake just getting a little bit of a wobble. A low speed run into the right-hander at the water tank there. Down into the cleavage he goes. The left-hander rises up to the right-hander. Gingerly applies the throttle and runs the Marina Mirage car down to turn 10. Love what it says across the front of his helmet. Many drivers would have their surname written there. John Paul Drake just has yow. Used to have it on the underside of his wing as well. It's the kind of guy he is. Loves being at the racetrack. Great hobby. Re-energises himself to go back to the rough and tumble of the retail world where he makes his living. Good battle here now. John Grant and the Esselbaum car. Susan. So this is an interesting battle. As I said, partners in life. A couple away from the racetrack. And at the moment, it is Susan that's leading John here in the black number 74, the number 51. John Grant, new on the scene for the prototypes, these two, for 2019. How about it? Loaded into the trailer and off they head home again and talk about the battles of the day. The battles just happened between the two of them. Late under brakes there for number 51 Radical. The SR3 RS, both of them, the just off current spec Radical. The SR3 RSX is the current spec Radical. We see them running regularly as part of the Shannons Nationals. Now race leader John Paul Drake setting himself up nicely to take home the Endota Spa award. And have a look at arriving on the scene. Was 9 seconds behind, now 1.5. John Paul Drake has eased up the pace and they're going to run to the flag. Phil Hughes just off the back of shot there, so Phil will be taking home a prize as well. Some great bit of trophy type racing for these guys this weekend. And there it is, the winner take home the $150 Endota Spa voucher, whether he uses it himself, his mum, his wife, wherever it goes to. Second place will be a $100 Endota Spa voucher, which will be to Phil Hughes. And ultimately, at the end of the day, the number 70, Glenn Stolmer, gets home for third place. So the award aisle's after Cam, a bottle of French champagne.
There you go. Great racing throughout. It was a shame that we've got the tyre issues on the Gonzalez, Barham and Trengove cars. Hopefully we'll see them out for race 4 a little later today. You can't take anything away, though, from JP Drake. He led from the start and was not troubled. That 1.2 second gap wasn't indicative. He was 10 seconds up the road from the rest of them, but again, Phil Hughes, so aggressive. Great job in second. Stalbaum in third. Susan Esselmont was chasing that French champagne. Just missed out by 1 position. John Grant in 5th. And we had the others rounding out the field. Only 6 finishes at the end. You're tuned into Shannons Nationals and we're going to take a break.